In a small, quiet town nestled between rolling hills and thick forests, life moved slowly. People knew each other by name, and everyone had their own struggles, but none quite like the ones faced by Lily and Ethan, two 12-year-old twins who lived in a tiny, weathered house at the edge of town. Their mother, Sarah, was the heart of their family. She worked tirelessly as a seamstress to provide for her children, always putting their needs before her own. But now everything had changed. It started with fatigue. Sarah would come home from work exhausted, barely able to lift her sewing machine. Then came the headaches, sharp and relentless, followed by unexplained weight loss. At first, she brushed it off as stress, telling the twins not to worry. "I'm fine," she'd say with a weak smile, though her voice trembled. But one day, after collapsing in the middle of the kitchen, she finally agreed to see a doctor. That visit shattered their world. The diagnosis was devastating: stage 4 brain cancer. The doctors said it was aggressive and spreading fast. Without immediate treatment, Sarah wouldn't survive more than a few months. But treatment wasn't cheap. Chemotherapy, radiation therapy, surgeries. All of it cost money they didn't have. Sarah tried to stay positive, but deep down, she knew the truth. How could she ask her children to bear such a burden? For Lily and Ethan, watching their vibrant, loving mother fade into a shadow of herself was unbearable. They refused to give up. Every morning they woke up early, skipping breakfast so they could save what little food they had. After school, instead of playing with friends or doing homework, they took on odd jobs around town. Lily baked cookies, using flour and sugar they bought with their last pennies, selling them at the local market. Ethan mowed lawns, cleaned gutters, and helped farmers carry baskets of vegetables. On weekends, they scoured parks and roadsides for empty bottles to recycle for cash. Despite their efforts, the money never seemed enough. Medical bills piled up on the kitchen table, threatening to crush whatever hope remained. Neighbors offered kind words and occasional donations, but even their generosity had limits. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the room, the twins sat beside their mother's bed. Her breathing was shallow, her skin pale and clammy. Tears streamed down Lily's face as she held Sarah's hand. "We'll find a way, Mom," Ethan said, his voice cracking. "We promise." But inside, he felt hopeless. What more could they do? They were just kids, powerless against something so big. That night, as rain pattered against the windows, a knock echoed through the house. Startled, the twins exchanged glances. No one ever visited this late. Slowly, Ethan got up and opened the door. Standing there was a man dressed in a dark coat, his face partially hidden beneath the brim of his hat. He looked out of place, almost unreal, yet his eyes were warm and filled with kindness. "Are you Lily and Ethan?" he asked softly. They nodded cautiously. "My name is Mr. Grayson," he continued. "I've heard about your situation. I think I might be able to help." Lily stepped forward, clutching her brother's arm. "Help us how?" she asked, suspicion mingling with desperation in her voice. Mr. Grayson hesitated, as if choosing his words carefully. "Let's just say I have access to resources most people don't. Your mother doesn't have to suffer. But if you want my help, you'll need to trust me completely." The twins glanced at each other, unsure. This stranger had appeared out of nowhere, offering salvation when all seemed lost. Was he truly their miracle, or a dangerous gamble? As the minutes ticked by, silence hung heavy in the air. Finally, Lily spoke. "If you can save our mom, we'll do anything." With those words, their lives took a turn they could never have imagined. Little did they know, accepting Mr. Grayson's offer would lead them down a path far beyond the boundaries of their small town and into the vast unknown of the universe itself. For now, however, all they cared about was saving their mother. And if trusting a mysterious stranger was the price they had to pay, then so be it. The rain had stopped by the time Mr. Grayson led Lily and Ethan to his car, a sleek black vehicle that gleamed under the dim streetlights. The twins hesitated for a moment, glancing back at their small, crumbling house where their mother lay, asleep. They wanted to believe this man could help, but doubt gnawed at them. What if he was lying? What if this was some kind of trick? Still, they climbed into the car, clutching each other's hands tightly as it sped away into the night. The drive seemed endless, taking them far beyond the familiar streets of their town. The roads grew narrower, winding through dense forests, until they reached a sprawling estate hidden behind towering iron gates. The mansion loomed ahead, its windows glowing faintly in the darkness. It looked like something out of a dream, or perhaps a nightmare. As they stepped inside, the twins were greeted by an eerie silence broken only by the soft hum of machines. "This way," Mr. Grayson said, guiding them through long corridors lined with polished wood and strange artifacts. The air smelled sterile, almost clinical, making Lily wrinkle her nose. "Your mother will be safe here." Safe? The word echoed in Ethan's mind as he tried to process what was happening. Safe from what? From cancer? From death itself? He wanted to ask questions, to demand answers, but something about Mr. Grayson's calm demeanor silenced him. Instead, he focused on keeping up with the man's brisk pace, his heart pounding louder with every step. They finally arrived at a large room filled with advanced medical equipment, machines that neither twin had ever seen before. Doctors in white coats moved around quietly, adjusting dials and studying screens. One of them approached, introducing herself as Dr. Elena. She spoke gently, explaining that Sarah would begin treatment immediately. "Treatment?" Lily asked, her voice trembling. "What kind of treatment? Is it experimental?" Dr. Elena hesitated, exchanging a glance with Mr. Grayson. "Let's just say it's not available anywhere else in the world, but we're confident it can help your mother." Confident wasn't good enough for Ethan. "How do we know this isn't dangerous?" he blurted out. "You haven't told us anything about what you're doing." Mr. Grayson placed a reassuring hand on Ethan's shoulder. "I understand your concerns," he said, "but trust me when I say this is your best chance. Your mother doesn't have time for traditional methods. If you want her to live, you need to let us try." The weight of his words hit the twins, like a punch to the gut. They knew he was right, time was running out. Reluctantly, they nodded, allowing the doctors to take Sarah into another room. As the door closed behind her, Lily sank onto a nearby chair, tears streaming down her face. "What are we doing, Ethan?" she whispered. "We don't even know who these people are." Ethan didn't answer. He felt torn between hope and fear, unsure whether they'd made the right decision. For hours they waited anxiously, pacing back and forth while trying to distract themselves with books and puzzles scattered around the waiting area. Every creak of the floorboards or distant sound of footsteps made them jump, their nerves stretched thin. Finally, Dr. Elena returned, her expression unreadable. "The procedure has begun," she announced. "It'll take some time, but initial results look promising." Promising. The word brought a flicker of relief, though it wasn't enough to banish their unease entirely. That night, exhausted and overwhelmed, the twins fell asleep in a guest room provided by Mr. Grayson. Dreams of their mother smiling and healthy mingled with nightmares of shadowy figures and glowing machines. When morning came, sunlight streamed through the windows, casting golden patterns on the walls. Lily woke first, rubbing her eyes as she noticed a tray of breakfast waiting for them. Fresh fruit, warm bread, and steaming cups of tea sat neatly arranged, a stark contrast to the meager meals they were used to. For a brief moment she allowed herself to feel grateful, savoring the taste of real food after weeks of scraping by. But gratitude quickly gave way to curiosity. As they ate, Lily turned to her brother. "Ethan, we need to figure out more about this place and about Mr. Grayson." He nodded, his jaw tightening. "I agree. Something feels off about all this. Why would someone go to such lengths to help strangers?" Determined to uncover the truth, they decided to explore the mansion while everyone else was busy. The corridors seemed endless, branching off into rooms filled with peculiar objects, glowing orbs suspended in glass cases, intricate diagrams etched onto walls, and shelves stacked with books written in languages they couldn't recognize. Each discovery deepened their sense of unease. Then they stumbled upon a locked door, Unlike the others, this one was reinforced with heavy bolts and a keypad. Intrigued, Ethan pressed his ear against it, straining to hear any sounds from within. Nothing. Frustrated, he glanced at Lily. "Do you think Mr. Grayson keeps secrets in there?" Before she could respond, footsteps echoed down the hall. Panicking, they ducked into a nearby alcove, watching as a group of scientists passed by, deep in conversation. "Progress is remarkable," one of them said. "If the council approves, we might expand the program." "The council?" Lily mouthed silently to Ethan, her eyes wide. Whoever these people were, they weren't ordinary doctors, and whatever they were doing went far beyond saving their mother. As the day wore on, the twins wrestled with conflicting emotions. On one hand, Sarah appeared to be improving. Her color was returning, and she slept peacefully without pain. On the other hand, the mysteries surrounding Mr. Grayson and his operation only grew darker. Who exactly were they dealing with? And what price would they ultimately pay for trusting him? By evening, the twins confronted Mr. Grayson directly. "We deserve to know the truth," Ethan demanded, his voice firm despite the knot of fear in his stomach. "Why are you helping us? What's really going on here?" Mr. Grayson sighed, his expression softening. "Very well," he said. "But brace yourselves. This isn't going to be easy to hear." And so, under the fading light of dusk, the twins listened as Mr. Grayson revealed the unimaginable. He wasn't human. He belonged to an advanced alien species observing Earth, studying humanity's capacity for love and sacrifice. Their mother's illness had been a test, one that proved humans were capable of extraordinary things. Shocked and speechless, Lily and Ethan stared at him, unsure whether to trust him further or run as fast as they could. But one thing was certain: their lives would never be the same again. The room fell silent after Mr. Grayson's revelation. Lily and Ethan stood frozen, their minds racing to make sense of what they had just heard. An alien? Observing Earth? It sounded like something out of a movie, not real life. For a moment, the twins wondered if they were dreaming or hallucinating from exhaustion. But the look in Mr. Grayson's eyes was unmistakably sincere, his calm demeanor unwavering. "I understand this is difficult to comprehend," he said, breaking the silence. "But I assure you, everything I've done has been for your mother and for humanity." Ethan clenched his fists, anger bubbling beneath the surface. "You're telling us you're an alien? That you've been watching us and now you expect us to just believe you?" Mr. Grayson nodded slowly. "Belief isn't necessary right now. What matters is that your mother is getting better because of my intervention. My people have technology far beyond anything humans possess. We've been studying your species for centuries, your creativity, resilience, and capacity for love. When I learned about your situation, I saw it as proof of humanity's potential. You two risked everything to save your mother. That kind of selflessness, it's rare even among advanced civilizations." Lily swallowed hard, her voice barely above a whisper. "So, why are you really helping us? Is this some kind of experiment?" He shook his head. "Not exactly. Think of it more as an investment. Humanity has flaws, yes, but also immense promise. If nurtured properly, your species could one day contribute greatly to the universe. Helping your mother was my way of showing that." Despite his explanation, the twins couldn't shake off their unease. While part of them wanted to trust him, he had saved their mother after all. They couldn't ignore the nagging suspicion that there was more to the story. Something bigger, something dangerous. That night, unable to sleep, Lily crept out of bed and found Ethan sitting by the window staring at the stars. "What do you think?" she asked quietly. Ethan sighed, running a hand through his messy hair. "I don't know. Part of me wants to believe him, but aliens? Really? This feels too big for us to handle. We can't just leave it alone," Lily insisted. "If he's telling the truth, then we need to know everything. Who are these people he keeps talking about? Why are they studying us? And what happens next?" Her determination sparked a fire in Ethan. "You're right. Maybe it's time we stopped being scared and started asking questions." Early the next morning, while the mansion was still quiet, The twins decided to investigate further. Their curiosity led them back to the locked door they'd discovered earlier. This time, however, they noticed something unusual. A faint blue glow seeping underneath the cracks. The light pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. "What do you think's inside?" Lily whispered, her voice tinged with both excitement and fear. "Only one way to find out," Ethan replied, examining the keypad beside the door. After a few moments of fiddling, he managed to bypass the lock using a trick he'd seen in an old spy movie. With a soft click, the door swung open, revealing a sight that left them breathless. The room was massive, filled with glowing screens, displaying maps of planets, constellations, and galaxies. In the center stood a holographic projection of Earth, surrounded by swirling symbols and equations that made no sense to them. Along the walls were shelves lined with strange artifacts, crystals that shimmered with inner light, metallic spheres hovering mid-air, and books written in languages they couldn't decipher. This is insane," Ethan muttered, stepping cautiously into the room. "It's like a museum of the universe." Lily's gaze landed on a series of photographs pinned to one wall. At first glance, they appeared ordinary. Pictures of families, children playing, couples embracing. But upon closer inspection, she realized something odd. The people in the photos looked human, yet their eyes glowed faintly, and their skin had a subtle iridescence. Were these aliens disguised as humans? Before she could process the thought, a voice startled them. "I see you found my study." They spun around to find Mr. Grayson standing in the doorway, his expression unreadable. For a moment, panic gripped the twins. Had they gone too far? Would he punish them for snooping? To their surprise, he smiled faintly. "Curiosity is a trait I admire. Come, let me explain." He gestured for them to sit, pulling up a chair himself. "What you see here represents decades of research. These artifacts, these images, they're evidence of humanity's connection to the cosmos. Long before recorded history, your ancestors interacted with beings from other worlds. Some of those encounters shaped your culture, your myths, your very DNA." Ethan frowned. "Are you saying aliens influence human evolution?" "In a way, yes," Mr. Grayson replied. "But it wasn't manipulation, it was guidance. Your species holds untapped potential, qualities that set you apart from others. Compassion, imagination, adaptability. These traits are rare in the Yao universe, which is why my people take such an interest in you." Lily leaned forward, her brow furrowed. "But why keep it a secret? Why not show yourselves and share your knowledge openly?" "It's complicated," he admitted. "Revealing ourselves would disrupt your natural development. Imagine introducing advanced technology to a primitive society. It could lead to chaos, destruction. We must tread carefully." As he spoke, the twins began to understand the gravity of his mission, but understanding didn't erase their doubts. "What about your leaders?" Ethan asked suddenly. "Do they know what you're doing here?" Mr. Grayson hesitated, his smile fading. "No. And if they find out, there will be consequences. For me, and possibly for you." The weight of his words hit them like a ton of bricks. "Consequences?" Lily echoed. "What kind of consequences?" "My actions violate our laws," he explained. "Interfering directly in human affairs is forbidden. By helping your mother, I've risked exile, or worse. But I believed it was worth it. Seeing how much you care for each other reminded me of why we watch over you in the first place." For the first time, the twins felt a pang of guilt. They had accused him of ulterior motives, of experimenting on them, but now it seemed he had sacrificed everything to give them hope. Yet, his confession raised another question. What would happen when his superiors discovered the truth? "We won't let them hurt you," Ethan declared firmly. "You saved our mom. We owe you." Mr. Grayson chuckled softly, though sadness lingered in his eyes. "Your loyalty is admirable, but this isn't your fight. If anyone should face judgment, it's me." "No," Lily said, surprising even herself with her resolve. "We're involved now. Whatever happens, we'll stand by you." Her words hung in the air, a promise forged in the heat of uncertainty. For the first time since meeting Mr. Grayson, the twins felt a flicker of control over their chaotic lives. They may have been just kids, but they weren't powerless. Not anymore. Over the next few days, Sarah continued to improve, regaining strength and vitality that had once seemed lost forever. She remained unaware of the extraordinary circumstances surrounding her recovery, focusing instead on spending time with her children. Watching her laugh and smile again brought tears to the twins' eyes, but their joy was tempered by the looming threat of Mr. Grayson's exposure. One evening, as they sat together in the mansion's library, Lily voiced what they'd both been thinking. "We need to protect him," she said. "If his people come looking for him, we have to speak up. Tell them why he helped us." Ethan nodded. "Yeah, but how do we convince aliens that what he did was right?" A shadow passed over Mr. Grayson's face. "It won't be easy. My council values logic above emotion. To them, personal attachments are irrelevant. Then we'll make them relevant," Lily insisted. "We'll show them what makes humans special. Love, sacrifice, hope, all the things you said we're capable of." Moved by their determination, Mr. Grayson agreed to prepare them for the inevitable confrontation. He taught them about his world, explaining its customs, values, and language. Though daunting, the twins threw themselves into learning, driven by the desire to repay the man who had given them back their mother. As days turned into weeks, the bond between the three grew stronger. For the first time, Lily and Ethan began to see Mr. Grayson not as a mysterious stranger or an alien observer, but as a friend. Someone who had risked everything to help them when no one else could. And so, armed with newfound knowledge and unshakable resolve, the twins prepared to face the unknown. Little did they know, their journey was only beginning. A journey that would test not just their courage, but the very essence of what it meant to be human. The day finally arrived when Mr. Grayson received the message he had been dreading. His superiors had discovered his interference with Sarah's treatment, and they demanded an explanation. The twins watched as he read the transmission, his usually calm demeanor replaced by a mix of fear and resignation. For the first time since they'd met him, he looked uncertain. "They're summoning me to appear before the council," he said quietly, turning to face Lily and Ethan. "This is it. If I go alone, there's no guarantee I'll return." Lily's heart sank. She couldn't bear the thought of losing the man who had saved her mother, and who had shown them kindness when they needed it most. Ethan stepped forward, his voice firm despite the knot of anxiety in his stomach. "You're not going alone," he declared. "We told you we'd stand by you, and we meant it." Mr. Grayson shook his head. "It's too dangerous. You don't understand what you're dealing with. My people aren't like yours. They value logic over emotion. They won't care about your feelings or your intentions." "But that's exactly why we need to be there," Lily interjected, her cheeks flushing with determination. "If they only see things through logic, then we'll show them something different. We'll show them what makes humans special. Our ability to love, to sacrifice, to fight for each other, even when the odds are against us." Her words hung in the air, echoing with conviction. Mr. Grayson studied their faces, seeing the same fierce resolve that had inspired him to help them in the first place. Slowly, he nodded. "Very well, but you must prepare yourselves. This won't be easy." Over the next few days, the twins immersed themselves in learning everything they could about Mr. Grayson's world. He taught them basic phrases in his language, explained the structure of his society, and described the council, a group of luminous beings who governed his species with unwavering discipline. They were judges, philosophers, and scientists rolled into one, tasked with ensuring their civilization adhered to strict principles of non-interference. "The council believes emotions cloud judgment," Mr. Grayson explained. "To them, compassion is a weakness, not a strength. Convincing them otherwise will require more than just words." Despite the daunting challenge ahead, Lily and Ethan refused to back down. Every night they practiced speeches, rehearsing arguments that highlighted humanity's unique qualities. They spoke of their mother's illness and how they had worked tirelessly to save her. of the sacrifices they'd made without hesitation, and of the hope that had kept them going even in the darkest moments. "We're not perfect," Lily admitted, during one practice session. "Humans make mistakes all the time, but isn't that what makes us special? We keep trying, even when we fail." Ethan added, "And we care, not just about ourselves but about others. That's why Mom means so much to us. That's why we're doing this for you, Mr. Grayson, because we believe helping someone in need is worth any risk." As the day of the trial approached, tension filled the mansion. Sarah, still unaware of the extraordinary events unfolding around her, noticed her children's stress and tried to comfort them. "Whatever's worrying you, remember we'll face it together," she said gently, pulling them into a tight embrace. Her words gave the twins strength, reminding them of why they were fighting in the first place. Finally, the moment came. Mr. Grayson led them to a secluded clearing deep within the forest surrounding the estate. There, under the light of a crescent moon, a shimmering portal opened, pulsating with energy. It was unlike anything the twins had ever seen, a swirling vortex of colors that seemed to stretch endlessly into another realm. "Are you ready?" Mr. Grayson asked, his voice steady but tinged with apprehension. "As ready as we'll ever be," Ethan replied, gripping Lily's hand tightly. With a deep breath, they stepped through the portal, leaving Earth behind. On the other side, they found themselves in a vast chamber illuminated by soft, ethereal light. Towering figures surrounded them, their forms radiating an otherworldly glow. Their eyes, large and luminous, scanned the newcomers with detached curiosity. At the center stood the council, seated on floating platforms that hovered above the ground. For a moment, Lily and Ethan felt overwhelmed. The sheer scale of the room, combined with the presence of these majestic beings, made them feel small and insignificant. But they reminded themselves of their purpose, to defend not just Mr. Grayson but humanity itself. One of the council members spoke first, its voice resonating like a chorus of whispers. "State your case, human children. Why should we spare the life of one who has violated our laws?" Lily stepped forward, her legs trembling slightly but her voice clear and strong. "We're here because Mr. Grayson saved our mother's life. Without him, she would have died. He didn't act out of selfishness, he acted out of compassion. And if that's a crime, then maybe your laws need to change." Murmurs rippled through the chamber, though the council remained impassive. Another member addressed them. "Compassion is fleeting. It clouds judgment and disrupts order. Explain how such emotions benefit your species." Ethan took over, his tone earnest. "Because compassion drives us to do things that matter. When someone we love is suffering, we don't give up, we find a way to help no matter the cost. Sometimes breaking rules is necessary to protect what's important. Isn't that better than sticking to laws that ignore the needs of individuals?" The council exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. Sensing an opportunity, Mr. Grayson joined in. "My actions may have broken protocol, but they prove something valuable, that humanity possesses qualities worth preserving. Love, sacrifice, resilience, these are traits that can inspire greatness. By intervening, I sought to honor those qualities, not undermine them." Silence fell over the chamber as the council deliberated. The twins held their breath, unsure whether their words had made any impact. Finally, the leader of the council spoke again. "You argue that emotions elevate your species, yet emotions also lead to conflict, destruction, and chaos. How do you reconcile this contradiction?" Lily hesitated for a moment before answering. "Because imperfection is part of being human. We make mistakes, yes, but we learn from them. We grow. We strive to be better. And sometimes our flaws bring out the best in us. Compassion might cause pain, but it also creates beauty, hope, connection. Isn't that worth protecting?" The council paused, their glowing forms flickering faintly. For what felt like an eternity, no one moved or spoke. Then the leader rose from its platform, addressing the assembly. "Your plea has given us pause. While your reasoning challenges our principles, it also highlights aspects of your species we have long overlooked. Perhaps there is merit in re-evaluating our stance on intervention. A collective gasp rippled through the chamber. The twins exchanged astonished looks, hardly daring to believe what they were hearing. Had they actually succeeded? The leader turned to Mr. Grayson. You will be granted amnesty for now. However, your actions will serve as a test. Should humanity prove itself worthy of further observation, we may reconsider our policies. Until then, tread carefully. Relief washed over the twins as Mr. Grayson bowed deeply, gratitude evident in his posture. Thank you, he said simply. I won't disappoint you. With that, the council dissolved into light and the chamber began to fade. Moments later, the twins found themselves back in the clearing, the portal closing behind them. Exhausted but triumphant, they collapsed onto the grass, laughing and crying simultaneously. We did it, Lily whispered, hugging her brother tightly. We actually did it. Mr. Grayson knelt beside them, his expression soft with admiration. You were incredible. Your courage changed everything, not just for me, but for your entire species. As they walked back to the mansion under the starlit sky, the twins felt a profound sense of accomplishment. They had faced the unknown and emerged victorious, proving that even ordinary humans could achieve extraordinary things when driven by love and determination. But their journey wasn't over yet. With the council watching closely, humanity's future hung precariously in the balance. And as Lily and Ethan gazed at the stars, they knew their role in shaping that future was far from finished. The days following their return from the Alien Council's chamber were filled with a strange mix of relief and anticipation. Lily and Ethan had saved Mr. Grayson, and in doing so, earned a second chance for humanity to prove its worth. But the weight of that responsibility lingered in their minds like an unspoken promise. They were just kids, yet they now carried the hopes of two worlds on their shoulders. Back at home, Sarah continued to recover, her strength returning day by day. She remained blissfully unaware of the cosmic drama unfolding around her, focusing, instead, on rebuilding her life with her children. To her, the twins seemed different somehow, more mature, more thoughtful, but she chalked it up to the hardships they'd endured. Little did she know those hardships had taken them farther than anyone could imagine. Meanwhile, Mr. Grayson stayed close, keeping watch over the family while maintaining communication with his people. He explained to the twins that the council's decision wasn't final. They were still observing Earth, waiting to see if humanity truly deserved the trust he had placed in them. This is your chance to show them who you are, he said one evening as they sat together in the mansion's library. Every act of kindness, every moment of courage, it matters. Lily nodded, her brow furrowed in determination. We won't let you down. We'll make sure they see the best of us. Ethan added, but how do we even start? It's not like we can go around telling everyone about aliens watching us. Mr. Grayson chuckled softly. You don't have to. Just live your lives the way you always have, with honesty, compassion, and hope. Those qualities speak louder than words. Inspired by his advice, the twins decided to channel their newfound purpose into action. They began volunteering at local shelters, helping feed the homeless, and care for abandoned animals. They organized fundraisers for families struggling with medical bills, drawing inspiration from their own experience. Word spread quickly about the selfless efforts of the young siblings, and soon, others joined in, creating a ripple effect of goodwill throughout their small town. One afternoon, as they worked alongside neighbors to clean up a neglected park, Lily paused to look at the sky. The sun hung low on the horizon, painting clouds in shades of orange and pink. For a moment, she wondered if the council was watching, if they could see the impact of their actions from light years away. She smiled faintly, feeling a sense of pride she hadn't known before. As weeks turned into months, Sarah grew stronger, eventually returning to work as a seamstress. Her hands moved deftly over fabric once again, stitching together garments infused with love and care. Though she didn't know the full story, she often praised her children for their resilience and strength. I don't know what I did to deserve such amazing kids, she'd say, pulling them into tight hugs. But I'm so proud of you both. For Lily and Ethan, those moments of connection meant everything. They had fought so hard to save her, and now seeing her happy and healthy made all their struggles worthwhile. Yet they couldn't forget the bigger picture, the alien civilization counting on humanity to rise to the occasion. It was a daunting thought, but also exhilarating. They felt like ambassadors, representing their species in ways no one else ever had. Their bond with Mr. Grayson deepened as well. No longer just a mysterious benefactor, he became a mentor and friend, guiding them through the complexities of his world while marveling at the simplicity of theirs. He often marveled at human rituals, how people gathered to celebrate birthdays, shared meals during holidays, or simply sat together under the stars. "You take so much for granted," he remarked one night as they strolled through the forest. "But these small moments, they're what make your species extraordinary." Ethan grinned. "Maybe you should stick around longer. There's plenty more to show you." "I might just do that," Mr. Grayson replied, his eyes twinkling with amusement. Time passed and the twins grew older, transitioning from childhood into adolescence. Their experiences shaped them in profound ways, instilling values of empathy, perseverance, and leadership. Lily pursued a passion for writing, penning stories that celebrated human resilience and imagination. Ethan gravitated toward science, fascinated by the possibilities of interstellar exploration. Together, they dreamed of a future where humans and aliens could coexist peacefully, sharing knowledge and understanding. Then, one fateful evening, Mr. Grayson called them to the mansion for an important announcement. When they arrived, they found him standing beside a glowing portal similar to the one that had taken them to the council's chamber. His expression was bittersweet, tinged with both joy and sadness. "It's time," he said simply. "The council has reached a decision." Lily's heart skipped a beat. What did they say? "They've agreed to share certain technologies with humanity, advancements that will aid in medicine, energy, and environmental restoration. In exchange, they ask only that you continue to embrace the qualities that define you: love, creativity, and unity." Tears welled up in Lily's eyes as Ethan stepped forward, his voice choked with emotion. "Does this mean you're leaving?" Mr. Grayson nodded. "My mission here is complete. Your species has proven itself worthy, not because of me, but because of you. You've shown the universe what humanity is capable of." "But what about us?" Lily asked, her voice trembling. "Will we ever see you again?" He smiled gently. "Perhaps. The cosmos is vast and our paths may cross once more. Until then, remember this. You've already changed the course of history. Never underestimate the power of ordinary people to achieve extraordinary things." With those final words, he stepped through the portal, disappearing in a flash of light. The twins stood there for a long time, staring at the empty space where he had been. Though part of them ached with loss, they also felt a deep sense of gratitude for everything he had done and for the legacy he had left behind. In the years that followed, humanity entered a new era of progress and discovery. Breakthroughs in technology transformed lives, curing diseases, reversing climate damage, and opening doors to the stars. And though most people never knew the truth about Mr. Grayson or the twins' role in shaping their destiny, Lily and Ethan carried the memory with them always. As adults, they became advocates for peace and innovation, dedicating their lives to bridging gaps between cultures and fostering global cooperation. They often spoke of the importance of looking beyond differences to find common ground, whether among humans or with beings from other worlds. On quiet nights, when the sky stretched endlessly above them, they would sometimes catch a glimpse of a faint glow, a shimmering light that seemed to wink at them from the heavens. Whether it was Mr. Grayson watching over them or simply their imaginations playing tricks, they didn't know. But it reminded them of the journey they had undertaken, a journey that had tested their courage, strengthened their bonds, and ultimately revealed the boundless potential of the human spirit. And so, under the vast expanse of the universe, Lily and Ethan lived their lives with purpose, knowing that even in the darkest times, hope could shine through when people dared to believe in themselves and in each other.